I think leaving the army is incredibly hard because, you know, you're not in the army for money. You're in it and working at it to look out for those around you, for the regiment, for the soldiers who you're working with, for Queen and country. And there's a real sense of family, a bond, a purpose. You're making real life and death decisions coming out. You can be on your own. People out there are looking out for themselves, and I suppose it's just a very different ball game. And I feel very lucky that I've created a place where I'm back in a team again. It says my name on a ticket to a James Blount concert, and it says my name on an album, but I've very much created a team around me who look after me, and without them I wouldn't be where I am, and I certainly wouldn't be supported in the way that I am, and I learnt that experience from my time in the army. I think I feel lucky to be sent where I was sent. The Kosovo conflict was a relatively easy war for us as soldiers to be involved in. I was out there early on during the bombing campaign. It was really clear that two parties were murdering each other, and it was the right thing to do to get involved. I think it's been much harder for soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan to deal with an invisible enemy and hugely blurred lines of what the goals were. I took my guitar along, always either be on exercise or on operations, and I was pretty selective about what I would play to various people. A bunch of soldiers, they don't really want to hear "Goodbye My Lover," but I was brought out to lower morale at different stages. I write songs about my time in the army. For my first album I had a song about Kosovo. I refer to them in lyrics. I talk about loyalty of soldiers, the notion of who your enemy is, it's always been a huge influence. And at the same time, when I joke about my tour bus being much like a tank, well, we are a bunch of professionals on the road as a band and a crew, and I really do take my experiences from the army and apply them into a touring scenario here. We have an amazing time. I'm on a tour bus. It's like a camping holiday. It's very much similar to being back in the army, except that we're in probably slightly safer places, and that my tank is more comfortable in the form of a tour bus with a fridge that never runs out of booze. So very little to complain about.
Thank you so much.
We're getting Help for Heroes to turn up and with buckets and asking people to chuck spare change in at my concerts, because it just is really easy to do. You've got a mass of people coming through, and they know that I'm ex-army. I'm a patron of Help for Heroes, and once you've been injured within the army, then long-term support isn't always there. The army do their best, but under limited funding. At the end of the day, they have to push funding up to the front line, and people who are taken back to the rear don't get much of it. And Help for Heroes really galvanised the public. For masses of people who went to Afghanistan and to Iraq, the injuries that they came back with were all too common from IEDs, then leave you in a particular state. You can feel fairly deserted if you come back, and Help for Heroes at least seems to be engaged with all kinds of long-term rehabilitation. People are really just starting to understand PTSD as well, and the implications of that, and the long-term help that is needed, and just support that soldiers need having come back from those kind of places. Things have gone on in my life that I've really needed to write about. My dad, an ex-colonel in the Army Air Corps, as his kidneys failed him. So, and when I realised I didn't have much time with him, I wrote songs for him. Words I otherwise wouldn't have had a chance of saying, I suppose. Unfiltered and without fear. And then realising that I don't have much time with him, I've seen that I don't have much time with my very new family because I'm away on tour so much. So I've written songs for them too.
If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to our channel.